Hello, headphone mixers. My name is Paul Third, and that man sat across from me is Emrah Celik, multi-award-winning mix engineer with over 3 billion streams to his name, with over 90% of those mixes being mixed on headphones. Would you believe it? Yes. Now, this week, what we're going to do is we're going to do our very first headphone review, and we are going to review these. These are the Technica ATH-R70Xa. Let's get straight into it. So, first off, number one, we are going to talk about the build and comfort. This is something that is very important when you're mixing on headphones. Sound is very, very important, but also build and comfort is very important to a lot of people. It's something that matters a lot to Emrah. So, Emrah, I'll leave the floor to you. Build and comfort, what was your opinions?
They are very comfy. They are here, by the way. And they are very light,
Very light, like
200
super light,
grams, right?
like Sony
grams.
MDR MV1 light, like crazy. Actually, I'll give you a funny story. When Emma got them, and I did the same thing. He was like, bro, I don't think there's anything in this box, bro. Genuinely, I got them. I was like, there's nothing in this box. That's how light they are. It's like crazy.
Yeah. To me, it's metal and looks like pretty sturdy, right? It's not going to break easily. That's because it's too light. Everything in.
Yeah. Even though they're light, as an all-metal construction, it's just super, super, super light metal.
Yeah.
Like very light.
And that's really important because all these like 700 grams, you feel like...
Honestly, these, honestly, right? These, you can probably see the difference, right? Like, that is heavy. Like, honestly, even that's weighting down on me just now. These are heavy, LCDX are heavy, but if you want to really try heavy headphones, listen to the LCDX, the closed. Emrah had them. That's honestly, if you want to get like really strong neck muscles, mix on the closed.
It's good for training. Good for training. By the way, there's no pad pressure, clamp force. If you are using eyeglasses, they don't press and hurt you. That's
so light.
That's really good because you can see my hands. It's like it's not going to seal perfectly, but that's not an issue. They already measured everything, and the seal doesn't have to be a perfect sealing. For example, if you are using hi-fi headphones, the sealing is very important. Just a slight lift is going to sound like it's coming a lot of distortion. But these are not going to affect by sealing that much.
Yeah, which is really important because getting the right seal on a lot of headphones can be really, really important. For example, the Hyphen and Nanos and stuff are really, really important. Like when you, as I mentioned last week, talking about Amir from Audio Science Review and his distortion measurements and how, the reason that they were so elevated was because he didn't get a good seal on the grass measurement. Like what's funny with Ananda Nanos is that when they're on your head and they've got you got the right seal on them, the cleanest low end ever. But see if you have them open on your desk, they rattle and you actually can hear the distortion in them, like if you open the cups. But when you get the seal on your head, it's not there, so it's really important. So, right, this annoys me and him, and it's annoyed so many other people. I would have rather they kept the wings that they had on the old one, I think the R70.
The straps that you see here, if you can see it, if I push, you see?
Yep. There it is.
Like, and you have to put it again.
Yeah,
it's
annoying.
It's annoying. But I don't know why they choose this design-wise, but other than that, a perfect comfort.
The only other thing that Emrah was a little bit miffed by, and I don't blame him, doesn't bother me, but the way that it works here, right, is in terms of the cable, you have to use their cable. So it's basically a clip system, right? So you turn it. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you have to turn it.
Yeah, you have to turn, and then it comes out. So it's like a lockable system.
Yeah. And
so as you can see, so it's like to get it on, so you've got to like put it in, find out where, right, there it is, and then you turn it, and then it's locked in place, which is good. I think that's good that it's got a locking mechanism, but it means that you can only use those specific cables with them. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a downside. However, if, you're just kind of going in for, the smaller, or you're going for like a 1/4 inch TRS, then, you'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, some people might find it annoying, but it doesn't bother me too much. I actually quite like having locking cables. But yeah, some people might not like that. So we've discussed the build and we've discussed the comfort. So we have to get more onto the sound, Emrah. So let's discuss the frequency response. Now, the frequency response for me, I was quite pleased with, because I'll put it on the screen here. It's to basically from like 500 hertz up. It's pretty good to Harman. Like the top end, like genuinely, I didn't feel the need to go like nuts with the EQ. And you'll be all pleased to know that for me and Emrah, 2 bands of EQ. That's all that I use, and that's all that Emrah uses. It's subjective in regards to the sound of them, because Emrah does quite like having a little bit more of the warmth in there and a little bit more of those kind of low mids in there, because obviously, as you talked about last week about headphone EQ, it's all about counter in regards to your translation. So the more that you have in, the more that you'll probably take out. Yeah, I think out the box, Emrah is arguably one of the best out the box frequency tunings that I've seen for a dynamic headphone. Yeah. However, this is where the man that loves the low end, we've got to be honest, there is a roll off in there. And in regards to the distortion, Emrah, I'll kind of leave that to you.
Yeah, you can just show my EQ profile that I did, and you're gonna show the EQ measurements as well. Yeah. What I did is just adding 3 dB at low shelf, 3 dB at 60 hertz, and 4,400 hertz 2 dB with 2 Q value. But you can see the measurements on the screen soon. Yeah, it's out of the box. It's pretty good. It doesn't even need any EQ much. It's kind of very smooth top end, right? It's very smooth.
Very
smooth top end and very smooth mid range. That's why you don't have to EQ from 5K and up, right? This is totally pretty good. This is pretty good. It's not going to get you a lot of sub with my EQ, but it's going to make the sound a little bit fuller.
Yeah.
Because I find these headphones very thin sounding.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. And the issue with the distortion is that I think this is the only downside when it comes to everything about this headphone, is just the headroom is very, very narrow.
Yeah.
Because you have to use really hefty, really strong amp with them. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's 470 ohm, right? That needs a lot of power, and the interesting thing is it's get up to 1,000 ohm at 98 hertz. So it's a lot. So you're gonna need a little power.
A little power, yeah.
A little power.
To put it into context, right? And even in terms of the topping DX1, there's really any interface headphone amp that I know isn't going to work well with this. It really isn't. My HiFiMan HE1000SEs are hungry. These require a lot more gain than the HE1000SEs. Yeah. That's telling you something. You can use these with a topping interface, E2X2, E4X4, E8X8. However, you are going to need to be on high gain. And I'm pretty sure that I think when I get them to the levels I wanted, I think it was high gain, and it was maybe the dial was maybe like at 60, 70%. It was something like that. So you were like getting close to kind of maxing out. It does come at the caveat that it does need a lot of power and clean linear power really to get the most out of them. But even with clean linear power, if you try and add in that low end, you can see it has rolled off. And when Emrah did his sweep test, he was hearing quite a bit of distortion in the low end, which means that you aren't going to be able to really crank the low end and get that sub. It doesn't really produce the sub in the first place, really.
No.
But I did find that when I was doing a mix, now there is a mix on my portfolio. It's called Nashville. It's a Mark Daniel Nelson multi-track from Produce Like a Pro. I did a full mix just to kind of test these out. And I thought that the translation actually ended up very well. However, that was a track that was a very acoustic-y kind of mellow sounding track. So like if you're dealing with 50, 60 hertz up, I can work fine on these. But if you're trying to work on anything that's bass heavy, like hip hop, EDM, you're really, really going to struggle, and we aren't going to recommend them for these genres. But if you want to hear the translation of these, I would say go to my website, listen to Nashville, Because what I found was that just with those 2 bands of EQ, and it was in the lower end, I found that the imaging of these were really quite spectacular. They do need crossfeed. I am going to put that out there. For me mixing, the decisions that I was making panning-wise and reverb-wise, because they are very resolving, very smooth, and they kind of do this, but they want to go around your head and superly over wide. It's impressive, but it doesn't help for mixing. It's distracting and it doesn't really translate to the real world. So I found that with, if you're in real phones, again, 60 degree, I found was the right angle for these. And Chord Mojo 2, if you've got the Mojo, the green crossfeed was the one that I found worked really well, because it does this thing where it really kind of powers the low end a little bit and gives the transients a little bit more impact. You can get a lot of good energy and a bit of slam in these, but they are a little bit on the brittle side. So some people may find that, I've heard them, or some people call these analytical. I think what they mean by that is they sound a little bit brittle. And sometimes when something sounds brittle, it can maybe sound a little bit analytical. But yeah, I think transient-wise, they're quite fast. You can get quite good transient response out of them. Soundstage-wise, I can pick things out really easy in the soundstage. When I was doing the Nashville mix, I was able to hear where Mark could place certain things because I was using his reference. And I was just able to place things really, really easy, and the soundstage decisions I were making translated pretty much. So good, in fact, that I ended up not even referencing on any other headphone. I just put it on the Working Audio Tools podcast, stuck it in the Discord, sent it to my mastering engineer, and he was like, yeah, Paul, maybe just a tad little bit bright, which is the only thing I would say maybe you do have to watch, is that, see, I didn't change anything above like 360 hertz. Emrah, did you say you boosted a bit of 4K? Didn't you? 2
yeah,
dB.
4.4K, 2 dB.
So did you just find it was a little bit light in that region for you, and you just needed that little bit of?
Yeah, it was just too smooth. To my liking. Yeah.
The problem you'll have with a lot of headphones is that they can, especially your Bear Dynamics and stuff, right? They can sound very, very bright. And a lot of headphones nowadays have come with hi-fi tunings that are so bright that if you don't EQ them correctly, you're just going to end up with dull sounding mixes. You will not get a dull sounding mix with these. And I like how you can keep things natural and you don't have to use EQ. I always find it better to kind of go a little bit on the bright side than be too dull. Because when you mix too dull, send that to a client, they're just like, whoa, like this sounds boring and sterile. Like, just fuck off, really. When I got the EQ, I had a little bit of bottom end and, got a bit of crossfeed on them. Yeah, I just really enjoyed them. Like, I actually enjoy them to the point where I'm thinking about keeping them. But yeah, what was your thoughts when you were just listening, your kind of personal preference? Because you did, I think you were doing mastering a song today, STEM Master.
Yeah. In my first impression when I talked to you, I cranked it like 6 dB. And that was too much. You were like,
Paul, no, you were so disappointed.
Yeah, I was just disappointed because it's just, I would still prefer 6 dB boost. But I just can't go up to over 80 dB SPL to where I feel comfortable mixing. If they could fix that issue, if the driver could handle a little bit more bass.
Oh yeah, it would be. Oh, this would be
best. This will be a best headphone under $500.
100%, yeah.
When I EQ them, I need sub. I want to hear my sub.
Yeah, especially with the genres you mix. Now, for anybody that isn't aware, Emrah does mix a ton of heavy sub-genres.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to be a guest on a university. They were going to, talk about mixing and interview with me. And they asked me that you are a person with your low end. You are known with your low end. Yeah. I was like, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. So most of my tracks, we have a link in the description, right?
We'll put a link in the description so you can listen to some of Emrah's tracks that he's done. Because there's times that Emrah sends me stuff and you'll just be like, bro, listen to my low end. And he is a humble man, but when he gets the low end right, he knows and he's proud of it.
I know when I nail it.
Yeah, and then I listen to it and I'm like, bastard, fucking bastard.
Yeah, it's so good. They are not at the level of like Ari Organic or Hi-Fi Man or Audi's openness, but they are more open than, let's say, a Sennheiser HD650, for example.
Yeah,
they are very open. They are open than FIO FT1 Pro, for example.
See, with these, I always call it effortless. There's times where I listen to certain headphones in the soundstage where I need to really kind of work like nanos, I can't I can't do it. Like if it's a really like intricate song, I can't trust the soundstage in nanos. But with these, it's just a breeze. I mean, as easy as like the AT-1000 SEs. They can be, as Emrah said, it's like if the imaging can be a little bit sometimes too impressive, where you can get a little bit distracted with the details. So you've got to be a little bit careful. But if you're somebody that really prioritizes soundstage, you want a really nice, smooth, natural top end, and the low end isn't, that much of a priority. Like you're mixing maybe like indie, rock, country, and the super subs aren't that much of a priority, and you've got a powerful headphone amp, these would be a really, really good buy for you. They'll be super comfy. I've had them in my bag, going backwards and forwards, and the build quality is really kept up. Super light, and yeah, so there's good sides and downsides, but as normal with dynamic headphones, Emrah, the low end is always the thing that we just always wish it just had that planar, super clean, subby kind of low end. So that's my first headphone review done. There are going to be plenty more headphone reviews on this channel. We're going to
a lot, right?
Yeah, a lot. And we're going to, get the structure down, because this is just us kind of trying out things and seeing how they work. So yeah, let us know your comments down below, what you thought about, our comments and the structure and blah. So my name is Paul Third, that's Emrah Celik, and we will see you again on another installment of MixPhones.